Alexander. McCollum staying with him. Spins, gets inside. Left-handed off the glass. Oh, what a sweet move.
Giddy, tough spot. Backdoor. What a pass. What a play. And J-Dub picks the pocket of Trae Young. He'll take it himself.
This is Udart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the coming to you live Wednesday, August 23rd. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffin. Got JD Silva with me.
Hello.
Got Taylor Peterson.
Here with a full rotisserie chicken to pay off my bet. Context will be provided here shortly.
We've got Nick Crane on the call.
Teams are pouncing on all these players that Thunder are waving and cutting, man. It's like, what are they doing? All these pouncing, man.
Can't get enough Usman. Taylor, you're out of.
Yeah, I got
Taylor
a little
just
fuzzy there. That was weird.
So, if you're watching live, I hope you are tonight. We're going to start off with Taylor, who, as he mentioned, has a whole ass rotisserie chicken in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor, you want to explain this a little bit?
Silva, do you have the PDF pulled up? Because I never found it.
I do.
So anyways, I was talking to one of my coworkers, my supervisor, a good friend, who has been listening to the podcast, I don't know, probably sometime at some point during the season last year. Really kind of gotten back into it with the draft and summer league and everything of that nature. So he's listening, and he's very confused by these rotisserie chicken references that we've had over the past couple of weeks. And so for those of you that are tuning in and don't remember, one of our favorite traditions we have here on the Uncontested, we were trying to come up, it's probably 3 years in the making now, was a fun way to preview the NBA and more specifically the Thunder season. We don't want to do the same thing that every other national and local podcast does. So I think it was Jacob came up with the Thunder and NBA bets idea. And so that's where we go through, make some fun predictions and more realistic, some a little more fun and more spicy than others. And anyways, we'll have that coming up here in another month or so, really. It's kind of crazy that we're getting that close. Thank goodness. But so one of the bets that I still have to pay off is Silva. And I believe the context here is about this time last year when we were in the preseason bets podcast. And I told you guys the Beagle is freaking out right now because I have a full chicken here on the desk in the office. But I think the context here is like around this time last year, there was that guy who ate a full rotisserie chicken for 40 straight days or something.
Yeah.
Asinine.
Uh-huh.
And so anyways, Silva, one of his bets that he had, and Silva, I'll let you give the context of the bet that I lost, but was to the loser had to eat a full rotisserie chicken on the podcast. So here I am, my full rotisserie chicken. Jacob will appreciate this. Sprinkle a little meat church, holy cow seasoning on it during the reheat today.
Why are you putting holy cow on a chicken?
Well, I know.
What kind of weird son of a bitch are you?
And I wish I would have thought and planned ahead, and I would have actually reheated this on the smoker and then done it right and then got it crispy. Anyways, so got a little buffalo sauce here, a little ranch. Obviously, we have our chicken.
Hold the chicken up one more time so we can get a screenshot. And here, hold on. I got to screenshot this so we can tweet it out.
It's taken apart slightly, but it still works.
Let me know when you're.
I got it. 100% got it.
I'm not going to lie.
Beautiful screenshot.
I'm not going to lie. I would not want to be eating a rotisserie chicken on this podcast, but all the seasoning and the buffalo sauce, I actually kind of
it's one of the better bets I've ever lost. If that makes any sense.
It's a privilege, to be honest.
You're only using your hands, right?
Correct. I'm not allowed to use any utensils.
You guys ever been to medieval times in Dallas?
No.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I figured Jacob would have.
It's
like this old jousting place where they put on this performance and they're telling this medieval story, and you sit in these bleachers like you're in old school. I guess old school is not even the right term.
So it's kind of like
way back in the day
in Tulsa and OKC, but way more medieval. Almost like
Tulsa.
It's like you're watching my guy Bobby Baratheon.
Oh, so this is medieval
at the tourney of the kings.
Yeah,
but
medieval
the
Dixie
thing
Stampede.
is,
I'm all in.
Yeah, but you can get beer and they serve a meal, but since it's medieval times, they don't give you silverware. So you eat corn and turkey legs and like the whole meal, like there's like dessert and you have no utensils. And so I can relate to the pain Taylor's going through right now because it gets very messy.
Hey, quick question, and I need full transparency and full honesty on the podcast. Have you guys ever bought a rotisserie chicken at the store and just ate that son of a bitch in your car? Like in the parking lot?
In my car, no.
What?
No, not in my car.
What?
And I eat in my car all the damn time, to be clear.
I have on one occasion bought a rotisserie chicken. I was so hungry I just ate it in the parking lot at the store. I'm surprised nobody else has done that. Okay,
Well, that's why you're in. That's why you're in great
weird.
shape. You're willing to do whatever you have to meet your protein goals for the day.
all right, another thing on this pod tonight. We were talking pre-pod. Apparently, according to JD, we have 22 different sound drops for this podcast. I don't know what all 22 are, but it is JD's job on this show tonight to at some point play all 22 sound drops. So you guys are in for a treat tonight. Taylor's munching away on some chicken. JD's dropping sound bites, 22 of them. It's going to be a show, gentlemen.
Bro, Taylor, chew with your mouth closed too.
If you don't shoot the buffalo sauce once you're done.
Shoot. Hopefully there won't be any left. So did you find the bet that I lost?
I did.
Forgetting what it was.
Yeah, the exact bet is a major sports publication will write a 2022 redraft within the next year, and J-Dub will fall in the top 8. And won that one pretty early into the season.
Damn.
I think I took that one just because
You wanted to eat the chicken.
Ones. Yeah,
No, you were a J-Dub hater.
Hated the J-Dub. What can I say?
All right, let's talk some basketball, gentlemen.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
I'm gonna do my best here.
1 of 22.
Yep.
We're on the way. Few newsy items for the Oklahoma City Thunder. 2 players, both from the Houston Rockets, originally from the Houston Rockets, rerouted to OKC through Atlanta. TyTy Washington and Usman Garuba have both been cut from the team. They have both cleared waivers and are now free agents. The Thunder are now down to needing to get rid of 3 more roster spots to meet the requirement for the beginning of the season. Thoughts on TyTy and Usman being gone?
Well, it appears they're not in. They have not been claimed yet, so there's not a huge demand for these guys. I think this makes a lot of sense. I personally saw a small chance that a guy like Garuba could contribute over a guy like, I don't know, JRE as a possibility. And we saw some reports that like Garuba really liked OKC from overseas. But I'm ultimately not too surprised by this news.
I mean,
Not too surprised.
The context, I think, Jacob, you may be getting this too, is like those moves had to happen to sign the two-way guys. So there's like levels to it. Like if you look at it at the surface, Oklahoma City waived 2 guys that were first-round picks in the last 3 years, which seems like, do they have too many players? Do they have too many assets? Are they doing too many trades? But they got paid 4 second-round picks for bringing them on, so they already won. They needed to waive those 2 guys to sign the 2 two-way guys that they wanted. So it's like how I haven't been on Twitter a bunch. Like, have fans been pissed about this?
I don't think so. I think a lot of people kind of expected it. Some people thought they would take everybody to camp and let them play it out. Taylor had a really good point that part of this, like there's a big conversation between front office and players and representation. Like if you're TyTy, do you want to go through training camp and get to October 15th and then get cut and be scrambling?
No.
Or do you want to get cut now so you can go find another team to play for, right? And some of this could be like agent favors and getting these guys out of here now. That way they can find a landing spot.
Nick, to answer your question, it's not as much, hasn't been as much Thunder fans, I don't think, on Twitter as much as it is. Don't
Taylor,
mind
those
me.
fingers are some greasy boys.
Oh, yeah, and Rumble is looking at their
Please.
hand.
Please.
So, do we have a sounder for this?
Keep your
You
fingers
might
off
say
the
it's a
frame.
little sloppy.
Keep your fingers out
There's
the
two.
frame, my guy.
We
Very
have a
hard
lot
to
of we have a
give
lot
this
of
up.
sounders for this specific scenario.
It's been more so like non-Thunder fans, fans of other teams, such as, say, the Rockets, who have been talking about like these guys getting cut, or like I've seen Mavericks fans like, oh, go get Garuba ASAP. Maybe there's a reason that they've been traded twice now.
They've been salary
assets one
dumped
time.
twice and both cleared waivers.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's not by coincidence.
Yeah. Like, could they both end up being solid players? Yeah. But the reality is, if you want to gauge on the market on how NBA teams and front offices view them, you've got it. Like Jacob said, moved twice, cleared waivers. Doesn't happen to good players that teams around the league are set to pounce on.
Totally agree. Maybe this is getting a little too deep in the weeds and too hateful. I don't know. Does it give you any sort of satisfaction that they were Rockets picks and the Rockets just pooped the bed on both of those selections?
A little bit, because didn't they trade them to clear the way? They traded them along with something to make room for Brook Lopez. Was that the
Who never
original
signed?
report?
So they gave.
At least that's what the Rockets front office said.
So they gave Brooks more money.
Yeah, that's pretty satisfying.
And they gave Jeff Green more money. It's like, oh
Yeah.
darn, we didn't get the guy we thought. We already let go of. We're actually paid to let go of multiple first round picks. So let's just give this money to Dylan Brooks, who is already overpaid, and Jeff Green, who's like 40. Sounds like a great plan.
Sounds like the Rockets front office. Nick, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but they had to get rid of two guys to sign two guys to two-way deals. Those two guys signed to two-way deals were Lindy Waters III and Olivier Sarr, two guys who are staples for the OKC Blue and Thunder two-way spots, have seen a lot of NBA minutes as well as two-way guys. Lindy obviously getting bumped up to a regular contract last year from his two-way. I don't believe Sarr has ever been converted up. Maybe in the tank year where they got the Chet Holmgren pick, because it was so easy to sign guys that year because of the COVID rule. I can't remember. Regardless, are you guys surprised that they're bringing those two guys? You're allowed 3 two-way spots now, so we know them. They are Lindy Waters, Olivier Sarr, and Keontae Johnson. Those are the 3 guys on 3-way deal. 3 guys on 2-way deals, not on 3-way deals. We're not getting that spicy on the podcast.
Oh my.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
Any surprise? That was a good one, Silva.
Great.
Any
Wonderful.
surprise that they're bringing back guys that have been on 2-ways for so long and not rotating other players into those spots?
I've got some strong thoughts on this.
Oh, I'm ready. Nick with strong thoughts.
Multiverse.
Thank you. I was waiting for that one. I think this is actually, like, they didn't do this as a signal, but I think it signals competitiveness. Like, these aren't guys. I mean, Keontae's a whole different story, but he's also 23. But Sarr and Waters are not like guys that you're looking to develop for the future, that are projects that need the minutes both ways. To me, this signals we want to like push the limits of a 15-man roster and bring in Lindy Waters and Olivier Sarr, who know the system, have played multiple years here. And if there's injuries or depth issues, or, I mean, there's always like that game 53, and it's like, who's even able to suit up? Like, those are guys that, while they're not great, when it comes to two-way guys that can slide up and play minutes, like, you halfway trust them. Like, if Lindy Waters played 12 minutes in a game in February and Olivier Sarr was your kind of third string center playing up for a night, that's better than some project pick that's a pick number 59 that has never played an NBA minute when you're trying to be competitive. So to me, this signals the days of two-way players as project guys or maybe over. And these are truly going to be like extra depth guys in a pinch.
I like your point in the sense that the Thunder seem to be transitioning more towards using these two-way guys as just additional roster spots. Obviously, they won't get the regular playing time just because of how the two-way contract works. I think the majority of our listeners understand that. But I do really like that point, Nick. I am a little interested in Olivier Sarr. I get it to an extent, but I would have rather had like a Garuba in that spot. But the thing is, you have to think about the other side. There's obviously there's always two teams. It takes two teams to trade. It also takes a player being willing to take that kind of contract where Olivier Sarr is probably more willing to do so compared to Usman Garuba. Excuse me. Who that's what happened when you are eating on the podcast.
I agree. You can't really bring Garuba or TyTy into a two-way.
They'll be a little upset.
I don't even think you can.
The rules say that you can't. I believe
okay.
if you're the team,
even if you could.
No, sorry, I meant. Well, sorry, okay, I see what you're saying. If you acquire them, they're on contracts. You wouldn't be able to then convert.
But even if you could, like, my point is, I think the front office values Sarr, who's like, if you were to say who's got a higher ceiling, who could actually become a really impactful NBA player, everyone would say Garuba because the unknown and the first round pick and defensive upside. Yeah. But the reality is Sarr's done more at the NBA level. Sarr's been in the league longer, and Sarr knows the organization 3 times better than Garuba does. I think that's what they're valuing.
That last point is probably spot on as well. I am curious. Again, not to play NBA conspiracy theorist, the Kyrie of the podcast here, but his younger brother, Alex Sarr, who is a solid 2024 NBA prospect, will be sharing the same agent as Olivier. I can't help but wonder, if Preston may have his eyes on a prospect.
Greasing the wheels a little bit. Probably with that damn chicken grease you got.
We saw
you gotta have a sounder for that.
We saw it with Leangelo.
It is hot and sexy and popping.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know we had that one. We're going to get some good ones out of tonight.
We have some strange ones in here.
I don't even know what the context of that one was.
This is my personal favorite.
My preference is to be taxidermied when I die.
Oh my God.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Alex Sarr's good. I don't know if there's any real merit to that, but that will be a fun conversation to have in March, April.
Is this like a dream I had, or did Olivier Sarr get minutes in one of those two
Clippers games?
Yeah.
He was the one that had that baseline bounce pass to cutting J-Dub for a dunk in that win where Lou Dort locked up Kawhi Leonard at the end. Yeah, he played like 12 to 15 minutes that game. They continued to play him a little bit down the stretch for size purposes.
He had 22 and 15 in that last Memphis game where it's not like he's a horrible player. Like I think he could be a good third string center as your 17th roster spot, which is what he is.
Hey, before we move on, a few things. Number one, we've got a super comment here from Nathan. Likelihood of Mitchich finishing over Chet in Rookie of the Year. Had to give a percentage on it. What would you guys say?
I'm not the one to answer first here.
15.
Yeah, I'd go like 20.
5.
I think it's pretty unlikely.
I'd probably I'm kind of with Silva. I think I might even go under 10. I'm pretty bad with percentages based off the previous segments like this we've done.
You're a freaking landman. You better not be bad with percentages.
Plus minus is basically a team stat.
Oh my gosh, that was perfection.
I've been waiting.
That one got
I've
Nick.
been waiting.
Oh, that's hilarious. Before we move on to the break, one more thing. Taylor, we need an update. As far as body parts of the chicken, what have you done so far?
Oh, I've destroyed this thing. We're like legs, everything gone. We're basically on to the breast of the chicken.
It's just a carcass now.
Just the carcass. We've made some good progress here 20 minutes in.
When this man starts sucking on the bones at the end of the show, we know it's time to move on. We're going to take our first break of the night. We will be back in just a moment. Stick with us. as we're going to compare the Thunder to the rest of the Western Conference when we get back. All right, we are back. Gentlemen, it is definitely the dog days of the summer. It is.
What the dog doing?
Silva's good at these.
You wanted them
Bro,
all.
that was you got a trigger finger. I mean, that was quick.
Oh yeah.
What
Waiting
did
for the
Drake
first
say?
dog reference.
Trigger finger turns to Twitter fingers.
Yep. X fingers now.
In the dog days of the summer, when we don't have much to talk about, it's so hot outside. I let my dogs out for like 10 minutes this morning, let them back in, put them in their crates. About 5 minutes later, I hear, and then a dog throw up everywhere.
That's a
Could have
sounder.
done without the audio description, but okay.
It was horrible. Trying to find content. Taylor had the idea. Let's compare the Thunder to the other 14 teams in the West. So this is kind of a ranking the West tiers, but putting the Thunder up against each team to decide, like, who are they for sure better than? Who are they for sure not going to be better than? And who are they kind of in the same league as? You could see them maybe finishing slightly above or slightly below that team in the standings. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I actually gave some reasoning too. Shout out at Donnie Hazelwood. He reached out to me and asked about this. Said, hey, this will make a fun pod segment maybe for the offseason. I told him, yeah, I like it. And so we put our own little twist on it. Again, I apologize. The Beagle is very excited that, hey, sit, lay.
Okay. Okay. Can you run through the exercise one more time? Like you're going to go through each.
We're going to compare the Thunder to each of the other 14 West teams.
Okay.
And make a decision. Thunder are better than that team. Thunder are for sure worse than that team. Or Thunder are at the same playing field as that team. We could see them finishing maybe 1 or 2 games above or below.
So we're basically positioning them in a tier in the West.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. After we do this, we're going to repeat the process, but in what we think it'll look like 3 years from now. That would be the 2026-2027 season.
Got it.
I believe that season will be Shea's last year on his current contract.
Uh-oh.
Let's get started.
Thought a sounder was coming there.
No.
No.
So did I.
Waiting for it. So much anticipation, man.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad.
All right. Let's start in the Northwest Division. Let's put the Thunder up against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Kind of thinking. Oh boy. And our 3 options are
Better than,
worse,
worse than, or level playing field.
I'm going to go with worse than.
Interesting. Why?
I think they're
worse than them.
Well, I think they're worse than them. That's it. No, I think Cat's if Cat is healthy for a full season, I think that legitimately helps. I think they have a lot more players that are ready to contribute like immediately across the board. Thunder is still a much younger team than them, and are now integrating Chet into the roster, which could lead to some growing pains. I think early. And Edwards, like we're seeing, is awesome. I think they will figure it out as best they can with our guy.
As much as I hate Rudy Gobert,
and yeah, I don't think they're going to be like tremendously better, but I could see them being the 5 and the Thunder the 7 or 8, something like that. You know.
So the answer to the question, Jacob, is Thunder are blank than the Timberwolves.
better, worse, or equal.
The Thunder will be worse than the Timberwolves. Do you need reasoning, or is that good enough for you?
I mean, that's fine. I'm interested. Taylor, do you agree? I was going closer to equal.
I said this is a
Goodness.
I'm burping.
He's having the.
I really
effects.
thought this was going to be a great bet to lose.
Do we have a sounder of when Taylor slid his phone across the desk in that one episode?
I don't think we ever made a sounder of that, but that was
And
another.
Silva just raises an eyebrow.
No.
The reactions of all your guys' faces when that happened was phenomenal. I
was watching I wasn't on that show. I was watching it on YouTube from home.
You're the one who took the screenshot.
Yeah, I was like, what just happened?
Prime off-season podcasting here. Call back to our favorite moments. I actually said this is a tough one, but yes, I think the Thunder are going to be better than the Timberwolves.
Hey.
Anthony Edwards is amazing. I don't trust Rudy Gobert. Cat may be out of there. Who knows? The chemistry just seems way off. I don't know. Like I think on paper and experience, most people would say that the Wolves have a quote unquote deeper roster maybe than the Thunder, just based off experience alone. But
they're paying like $150 million to bigs next season.
Right. And I think the Thunder's roster is much more talented. And if that young talent is able to continue to play like a more mature brand of basketball, like we've seen over the past, really the like last year, when I think about like the defense rating that the team had, top half in the league for the majority of the season, and the just consistent style of play that we've talked so much about over the past year, 2 years. For all those reasons, I'm going to go ahead and play the devil's advocate here. And I think the Thunder will be a little better than the Wolves.
Nice. I think I'm closer to even, so it sounds like worse than is going to win out on this one. Next team in the Northwest Division, easy one, the Nuggets. The Thunder will not be as good as the Nuggets.
Yep.
Moving on.
It's a pretty easy one. Let's move on to the Jazz.
Better than.
But
I don't think it's an easy better than.
I was about to say, like, we say better than, like, how many games by the end of the season? 5?
I was going to say 5 or 6.
Yeah. There we go.
I think.
Any belief that the Jazz, like, overachieved last year and they won't be as good this year? There's also the fact that the Jazz owe the Thunder a top 10 protected pick next season. Like,
true.
Does that come into play? And then when it gets down to, like, if they maybe are in contention for a play-in spot, do they decide to not make the play-in and keep their pick?
I mean, don't forget they were right in the contention for a play-in spot at the All-Star break in February. Like, it's not like they were
for sure, and they sat guys.
Bad team. Yeah, they were. I think they're actually ahead of the Thunder at that point. Like, it's not like they're a solid young group.
So you do not think they overachieved last year?
I do. I think the Thunder overachieved last year too. But I think that the Thunder got better on paper than Utah did. Although the rookie class, like Keontae George and Taylor Hendricks, and like they've got some guys that will be better. So I would say both overachieved, but the Thunder's ability to win a similar number of games is probably more sustainable. I don't know if I believe that Markkanen is that guy.
That's kind of where I'm at.
I don't either.
They don't have a Shea. They just don't.
See,
I don't think they drafted one either.
I think the same thing, but we were saying that about Shea 2 years ago. The difference is Markkanen is much older than Shea was 2 years ago.
I mean, and the other difference is like Markkanen flat out was not great until this year. Like Shea, you could see like, okay, future star, like
you could see the progression.
You could see the Larry. He was, I mean, there was teams like that just gave up on him. Like trade him away. I mean, he was a guy that was a perennial who'll trade a first for Markkanen, give him like a new he was not on the same trajectory as Shea.
Maybe big and that's it.
Maybe
can I say something that may be controversial?
Oh, Jacob and I both have a spicy take. Okay, you go first.
Play it one more time.
Holy cannoli.
That was my phrase last year. Whenever I was teaching school.
Shout out Clay.
Anytime someone would say something, I would, holy cannoli. I think Walker Kessler is incredibly overrated.
That's a bad take.
I think he's fine. I'm just
he got rookie of the year votes. You know, it's
Team USA.
That's ridiculous.
In the Team USA nod, I'm with you there. It seems ridiculous. My spicy Jazz take is that
I think he's like a great value Rudy Gobert. And when you're a great value Rudy Gobert, like the only reason Rudy Gobert has value in the league is because of his like elite defense within 5 feet of the basket. He can't really do anything else, especially offensively. Like he cannot create his own. Like I just think Walker Kessler is a worse version of Rudy Gobert and is at best in his career going to be like a replacement level player.
Is he gonna
I mean,
give you some,
being a
Miss
light
Nature
version of Rudy
vibes?
Gobert as a damn rookie is pretty impressive.
I mean, I think that's him like for his career.
If he never got better and was this productive his whole career, that's a top 30 center in the league.
But how valuable are centers actually in the league? Like I compared the
mean,
center
that style
in
of
this
that,
NBA.
I don't know. I'm a
centers
hater.
of this NBA running backs in the NFL right now, right? Like that's kind of the comparison I make.
Unless it's Chet.
Exactly.
He's multi-positional, positionless. Some may say.
All right, let's move on to the next team. We all agree Thunder better than Utah.
My spicy Jazz hot take.
Oh
I
my
think Laurie,
goodness, Taylor.
I think Laurie is Julius Randle, like in the sense of has one All-Star season and is he really an All-Star?
Still damn good player.
Boom. Next.
He is very good. I just don't know if he's that level. Next team, the Blazers.
Even with Dame, I don't think they're any better than Thunder.
Yeah, even with Dame on the team, Thunder are better.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to. Is it called the West Coast Division? I don't know what it's called.
I don't know.
That is definitely not a division name. But
anyways, the Lakers.
Worse than.
I think so as well. I kind of like what the Lakers did in the offseason.
Oh, okay. I was thinking worse than the Thunder, but you're saying Thunder.
The Thunder will be worse than the Lakers.
Yes, I agree.
And if they're not, something has gone wrong. I assume there are injuries to the Lakers.
Interesting. It's not just that the Lakers just can't perform because they're getting older and the Thunder have a big jump.
I think I associate the getting older and the injuries in the same vein. But so yeah, that could be a reason why.
Clippers?
That's pretty fun. I kind of want to.
This is the first one I'm going equal with.
Kind of want to go about the same as well.
And I say that like Kawhi's incredible. PG is really good. I just don't trust either of them to play 50-plus games next year.
Yeah, like I think their team will be better on the court when they have both those guys. But on average, how often do you have those guys, and what record does that leave you with? And I think it's going to be similar to the one the Thunder have.
I'm going to go equal, but not because I actually think the rosters are equal or that the records will be the same. More that if the Clippers are not like knocking on the door in February is like, damn, they're healthy. They're way up there in the West. I think this is the deadline players get moved.
Interesting. I would see it more as the summertime, but I think this is the last run. I mean, those guys are free agents. Excuse me. Those guys are free agents next summer.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is the deadline they really think about. Like, man, if this isn't working, you trade like one of the guys, two of the guys. Like and that possibility makes me say equal. If you were to say the Clippers are buyers at the deadline, I would say that they're above the Thunder.
But I think we're all in agreement, equal for our prediction.
Yeah.
The Warriors.
The Thunder will be worse than the Warriors.
Agreed.
Interesting. I think so as well, but I think there's an argument for equal just with age and health on that team. Like at some point, that team runs out of gas. And they just swapped one of their youngest players for one of the oldest players in the league.
But for this season, I think it's a big time step in the right direction. So I think I think you even said it yourself, you agree, but you agree. So it's a unanimous.
How many games?
How many games are the Warriors better than the Thunder?
Yeah. And Silva, I think we're only at like 7 or 8 sounders.
Oh, you're right.
Lord, I know that it can get cold, okay, but I'm the coldest.
You asked for it.
It's another bet payoff.
Yep.
I actually
Nick, did you have a number?
5.
5? I think that's fair.
5 is
fair.
fair.
The Thunder were going to be better than the Warriors. I just think Draymond, Clay, aging, Clay injury history, and the CP3 dynamic, I don't think it's going to work. I just don't. They have zero depth. It's a mess with the whole quote-unquote 2 timeline. So if they don't make a move, I think the Thunder are better than the Warriors. J1K. Smoot remembers.
Kings.
The Thunder will be worse than the Kings.
Oh wow, I'm going equal on this one.
I went worse.
I'm
than the Kings.
oh wow, I'm pretty firm on equal with the Kings.
Why?
I just think the Thunder are going to get better, and the Kings the Kings are really good. Can you imagine saying that phrase like 12 months ago?
I know. We were still saying
like
Kings.
not defensively, like offensively, they were like historic as far as like points, pace, all that stuff. Offensive efficiency. Like, can they be historic again? Like, I think they're really good, but I wonder, do they take a little bit of a dip in that offensive efficiency? But then you also got to consider like Domas played injured with a bad shoulder for a lot of the year.
I think Keegan Murray could get better.
For sure, right? You flip to the Thunder side, I think a lot of guys can get better because they're so young. I would put them closer to equal, and by that I mean they're probably within 2 to 3 games of each other by the end of the year. I think that's pretty equal.
I think they're going to be better than last year too. Like that's always a thing is Thunder will be better. Kings will also be better. I mean, they were better than the Thunder last year.
I just don't see a world where like the Warriors are better than either of those teams in that situation if both improve. You know what I mean? Like I think that could be the Warrior. I'm saying the Kings and the Thunder.
You're saying
both
saying the Kings and the Thunders will both be better than the Warriors.
Well, if they are both better, then how are the Warriors? I don't know. That's where the whole West and the competitiveness. I mean, we're talking 1 to 2 game separation probably between all of these teams, but yeah, no, I saw the Kings better as well than the Thunder.
So rank Warriors, Thunder, Kings in your head.
Kings, Thunder, Warriors.
Okay, got it.
Interesting. Last team in this division would be the Phoenix Suns. I think we all agree Thunder probably worse than the Suns just because of the star power.
Yep.
Okay. Last division is the Southwest Division. Let's start with the San Antonio Spurs.
The Thunder will be
think
better.
The Thunder are much
better. Move on.
Sorry, there is a delay.
Hey, I do like the Spurs got a lot of really fun young guys. I think especially I love Devin Vassell. I really love Devin Vassell.
Yeah.
But can you guys see the Spurs like tanking the last 20 games?
Yeah. I could see Wemby not playing.
I think this is like a Luka micromanage. You don't want to piss off a generational prospect. You don't want to be like the team that I just think they'd be very careful with like the intentionally
Optics.
losing. That dude loves to win. Like I think it'd be remiss if I didn't say the Spurs actually acquired some like veteran type players, like win now players. I don't think they expect to be a playoff team, but this isn't like the Spurs team that has just a bunch of young guys. Like they have a handful of pieces that are like, that's actually a solid contributor.
Agreed.
But I still think worse. The Thunder are better than the Spurs.
Totally agree. Maybe the most interesting one in this division for me, the Dallas Mavericks.
Thunder are worse.
I could see Thunder are equal.
I'm tending to go more equal on this one as well.
I don't have a ton of belief in the 3 guys starting next to Luka and Kyrie. So I'm just kind of a TBD.
Who are those 3 guys going to be? Is
Grant
it
Williams, Maxi Kleba, and
Josh
Green? Yeah. I'm curious to see what they will like. What is Grant Williams going to really do in a starting role? I don't know.
I like Grant Williams a lot. I think that's their best move of the offseason.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if we're, this is hard for me to say. I think the Mavericks had one of the better off seasons of any team.
I'm on record.
Agency.
Yeah, I'm on record saying I love what they did this offseason. I think they
did a good job.
They did a really good job. I could just see the Thunder being equal to them. Like, I don't have a ton of faith, especially defensively, in that team. I worry a lot. Like, they end the season a bottom 10 defense, right?
Yeah.
I think does Kyrie
miss
miss games for God knows what? I don't know.
Like, They are more talented and better on paper than they've been in a few years.
I think that's fair.
And
you're not playing JaVale McGee, so I think
right.
you're probably better.
And considering it's one of the better teams in the past few years, you're saying this is a team that's better or has a chance to be better than a Western Conference Finals team. Year before last, they were Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just don't know if the pieces they added, like in the NBA, 4 quarters doesn't equal $1. And losing Brunson and bringing in these other guys, I don't think are equitable.
Yeah. I mean, I think we always talk about the Nuggets and why it finally panned out for them because of chemistry. And like, that's so important. As horrible as Luka and Kyrie were down the stretch, you'd be foolish to say 2 guys that talented should not be a hell of a lot better in game 70 this year.
It's fair.
Fair.
Theoretically, that's fair. In reality,
theoretically, Chet Holmgren fills a lot of the voids. There's a lot of things
right.
on both sides.
For sure. But in reality, my argument was the guy you're talking about is Kyrie Irving.
Yeah,
that's
fantastic basketball player.
That's exactly what I had in my notes.
He's incredible, but we've seen
right. I
left it
at basketball for a reason.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Mavericks. The comment I had in my notes were Mavericks are better, but the Kyrie factor makes things very interesting. I think you guys summed that up well.
I think that's fair. Houston Rockets, Thunder are better than.
I have Thunder are better short term and long term, just to make a point.
Tingly in my pringly.
I have to find a way to use however many I have left.
You can use them out of
That Justin one was great. I still remember that post game podcast.
Nick, did you say better than? Or are you thinking?
I think it's really close to equal to.
So are you going equal or better?
Better.
Okay.
But
it's on that borderline.
Yeah, you guys threw out better than like it was easy. It ain't that easy.
Do you think the Rockets are going to win more than 37 games?
I think there's a real chance. I also think wouldn't be shocking if the Thunder barely won more than 37 games.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, losses have to come from somewhere.
Yeah, I'd sell one of my feet if the Rockets won more than 37.
You'd what?
I'd sell one of my feet if the Rockets won more than 37 games next season.
That's a preseason bet right there.
We're not even waiting for the preseason bet podcast. We're making that bet now.
Someone's going to be footless? Did you say you're going to sell your foot? Or you're going to sell pics of your feet?
One's more realistic.
One of them
than the
could
other.
give me more money.
Both would give you money if you're selling your like.
Yeah, but one of them I can continue to capitalize on.
No, my point is, we like to talk down on the Rockets because they have made some really questionable decisions. Their roster building strategy is interesting. They pushed the button too early, but they should be a hell of a lot better with who they like. Bet Thunder are better. I'll leave it at that, but it's not close.
All right. Next one. New Orleans Pelicans.
It's the hardest one. I'll go last here.
That's difficult.
I'm going equal. Just like last season. Thunder were what?
Some bullshit.
Thunder were 1 game worse, 2 games worse than the Pelicans at the end of last year. I could see it ending somewhere the same. One way or the other, it's within 1 to 2 games.
I agree with that.
There's been a lot of pictures of buff Zion for him to play another 25 games next season.
There is like almost every offseason now that buff Zion.
Is it bad that like buff Zion maybe makes me even more anxious? Like I almost would have rather just have seen like
he's awesome,
more
dude.
lean.
He's awesome. And I think Dyson
Zion.
Daniels is going to be really good for them.
Yeah.
I think it's going to end somewhere close to what it was last year and the difference between those 2 teams.
I'm not sure I'd love the current construction of the team. But again, I know.
Elaborate.
Oh, do you want me to?
Yeah. What do you not like about it?
I mean, CJ McCollum as your lead guard. I don't.
He's kind of the guy that doesn't fit because he's so old.
Yeah, right. But then also, do they really have a lead facilitator? Like Dyson Daniels maybe can be that. to an extent. I'm not sure he's shown though that he can be the Josh Giddey, Anthony Black type that we kind of have. I don't know, that he was kind of comped to. Obviously, Anthony Black being a player who was just recently drafted, but I don't see him having the same playmaking abilities as an Anthony Black or Josh Giddey. As an example, they're going to get rid of Kira Lewis. And then, like, who else do they have at that guard position I'm forgetting about?
I don't think Jonas Valanciunas really fits that team either.
I mean, he'll probably be gone at some point, like the trade deadline. Zion's injury history is obviously scary. That's
BI's good.
Given. BI is good. Very good.
Who did they draft this year? Oh, the UConn kid.
Hawkins.
Oh, yeah, Jordan Hawkins. Which I like that fit. But again, like, you need a facilitator, a main playmaker. I'm just not sure they have that guy right now. Granted, they can easily go out and get that player because of their plethora of assets and young talent. And that's something to keep an eye on.
I think they hope Zion will be that. But
true, but even then,
will it?
In the ideal world, I think Zion plays 70 games and is your starting 5 all year.
Right.
And it's just a mismatched nightmare.
But like to Silva's point, like
at some point, I just have to go off reality and what I've seen for 4 years now, which is that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
I would love for it too, because I think Zion is awesome. I got to see it first.
A healthy Pelicans roster is better than the Thunder.
True.
So you haven't mentioned Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Larry Nance Jr., Jose Alvarado. Like,
they have a lot of good
Alvarado didn't play in the play-in game. Who else didn't play in the play? It was Alvarado. Zion obviously didn't play in the play-in game, but Larry Nance didn't play in the play-in game. Like, those are 3 guys that are top 8 rotation players. Obviously a big if. Like, health is the thing with the Pelicans, but if they're fully healthy, they're better. And they were like the 4th seed in the West last year when they're healthy. So
it's a fair point.
That said, I'm going to go equal because I don't believe any team's ever fully healthy all the time.
Yeah. Last one's the Memphis Grizzlies.
Another interesting
better than the Thunder.
They're better with the Thunder, especially with Ja, I think. But without Ja,
25 games, no Ja, I think plays a big role. But Marcus Smart's such a big
better
ad for them.
See, I find them on par with the Pelicans.
They're good.
They are good.
They're good without Ja. I mean, they're not winning the championship without Ja, but
right.
Those 25 games, I am not worried. Memphis is going to be fine.
How many games better than the Thunder are they?
Like, I'm on record, the Thunder winning 42 games. I think they win 50.
Oh wow! Even with 25 with no shot, with no Ja.
Dude,
I was thinking closer to
their record without Ja to this point is damn good. I'm not saying Ja's not impactful, but like Marcus Smart is.
They were 11 games better than the Thunder last year. Is it going to be more or less than that?
I just said 8, so
okay, less.
Yeah, less.
They're a good team.
They are. It's going to be
where they are in 3 years.
Where does that bring us, Jacob? Is that everybody?
Yeah, I haven't been keeping track, but I know we said they're definitely better than the Jazz, the Blazers, the Rockets, and the Spurs. We put them even with, I can't remember who all voted what, but somewhere even with maybe the Wolves, Clippers, Kings, Mavericks, Pelicans. So there's like a group
4
of like
teams.
We said for sure better than 4 and even playing field with like 6.
Who are the 6?
5, 6, somewhere in there. I think we argued Wolves, Clippers, Kings, Mavericks, Pelicans. So 5.
5. Okay, so that would insinuate they are somewhere between 7 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is probably, without doing this exercise, what most people would say. So
I think it's good to do the exercising at the context.
Yeah, that's the point of the exercise. I think they're a play-in team. Are they a team that can make the actual playoffs via the play-in? Absolutely. But yeah, they're a play-in team. That's what I mean. As good as they are, as bright as their future is, that's what they are.
let's take our second break of the night. On the other side, let's redo this activity, albeit a little quicker, but imagining we're doing it 3 years from now. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, gentlemen, let's fast forward 3 years. I believe it is Shay's
Chinese, buddy.
I believe it is Shay's final year in his current contract. It would be Chet and J-Dub's final year on their rookie scale deal. Josh would be on his new deal. There'd be lots of change.
Josh on the max.
There would be lots of change. Oos on his last year of the deal. Let's go through the process again. Let's start with the Wolves.
About the same. About the same.
They have
Taylor
no
and Nick,
assets
Taylor
moving
muted.
forward. Are Kat and Rudy there in 3 years? I don't think so.
No.
But maybe for the best.
That's true.
That doesn't mean they're
They
worse.
trade them
Ant-Man's
for-
going to be a freaking monster.
Yeah.
That's why I was thinking equal as well. When
Equal.
Silva and Nick
Equal.
both said that.
We can
Man.
go equal just because of Ant. I think Ant's that good.
Yeah,
And
we'll
I really
rapid
like
fire
Jaden
these.
McDaniels. Nuggets.
I want to go ahead and say better here
Yeah,
at this
better.
point.
Oh, interesting.
Really?
I just
Yeah.
they don't have a ton of assets. They're going to have to start flipping guys to continue to try and build around Jokic, and I think they'll still be competitive at this point because of Jokic.
We're going to cop out and go equal with on a lot of these, I feel like.
Yeah.
We got Wolves and Nuggets as equals.
No,
Did
we said better.
Oh,
Nick and I said better, but
okay.
Jacob
Sorry. The Jazz.
I still
Bet-
think better.
Better.
Oh, I think better.
Never enough chocolate, and I can't wait to see more.
I think definitely better than the Jazz. The Blazers. In 3 years.
Better.
Ooh.
Blazers are going to be fun in 3 years. I think the Thunder
They
better.
are.
Bro,
That's how I
the
feel.
Blazers could be where the Thunder are now in 3 years.
Or a year ago.
Or a year ago. Nick?
I disagree. Dude, if they flip Dame for a guy that is
Tyler Hero and picks?
no, if that was the package, it had already been done. If they trade
Yeah.
Dame for a guy, like the Miami thing comes off the table, there's other teams that are interested. He finally says, I'll play other places. And they get a guy that's like what Shea was 2 years ago, where it was like he's got star potential, plus Shaden Sharp, plus Scoot, plus Anthony Simons, plus like you're kidding yourself.
A lot
You
of
think the
ifs.
Blazer.
A lot of ifs.
A lot of this on the Thunder too.
Not
Crowning,
nearly
you're
as
crowning,
many.
you're crowning J-Dub as a max player after 1 year, and I mean, come on, it's take
They
the
don't
glasses
have to
off.
be.
It's all the same. It's all the same.
I only say the Thunder will be better because the Blazers haven't yet drafted the guys or acquired the guys via trade that are going to be there to make them,
They
better.
definitely could be. I just,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, easily.
judging off what I know right now, I'm going the Thunder are better than Portland in 3 years.
That's how I feel. Scoot can get there. Sharp, I need to see another year.
Next one, we're going to the next division. 3 years from now against the Lakers.
The Lakers always find some way to stay,
True.
relatively relevant, aside from those post Kobe, prior to LeBron era. I think
LeBron's not there in 3 years.
no. I think
I don't-
kind of. I
Anthony,
think they're better.
they're paying Anthony Davis $1 billion in 3 years.
I kind of think the Thunder are better at this point, only because I think that the Lakers could find themselves in their D'Lo, Randall, Kuzma, who was the fourth player. I'm forgetting.
Yeah, I don't think
That
they'll
era.
get to like drafting number 2 overall bad,
Correct.
but I think the Thunder are going to leapfrog them at some point. Just the inevitability of it. The Clippers.
I think it's very similar to the Lakers at this point, would be my guess.
I don't think the Clippers are going to be very good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd give that like a year.
They'll have a new arena
even if they flipped Kawhi and PG tomorrow, I don't know how much you're getting. For
Who's
those
the
guys.
youngest player on that roster right now?
Terrence Mann's old, so it's got to be Kobe Brown or somebody.
No,
like
I
that
forgot
who's
they've
drafted.
made some trades and
Kobe
some
Brown's
dra-
even old.
Oh, that's true. He was
Um,
a senior. Wasn't he?
Who's the kid they traded for with Denver?
Oh, Bones.
Yeah, Bones Highland. He's
Like-
probably like their youngest player.
Probably up there with Kobe Brown.
Brandon Boston, anyone? Isn't he there?
Brandon Boston. That's a good.
I'm not saying
callback.
good players. I'm saying young players.
Yeah.
Someone in their G League team.
Do they have youth?
His name BJ Boston or Brandon Boston?
I think it goes both.
Both.
Okay.
I think his
Brandon
actual
Boston
name is
Jr..
Brandon. Yeah.
Okay.
The Warriors in 3 years.
That's so hard.
Are any of the Warriors guys on the Warriors in 3 years?
Steph will still be shooting.
Steph, Clay,
44% from three.
Draymond, CP3. Of those 4, who are there in 3 years?
Chris will not be playing basketball in 3 years.
I agree.
Draymond, I find that hard to.
If they are, they aren't getting a lot of burn. They do have.
I think the betting odds would be like 2. 2 of the 4 are still there.
Yeah.
Thunder will be better, I think.
Thunder will be.
I
better.
agree. They're just going to age out, and their young supply of players is Kuminga and Moses Moody, who are both fine players. I just don't think either are going to evolve into superstars.
They'll have assets.
What's Kuminga's nickname?
We got a sounder for this?
Oh, we do have a sounder for this.
There it is.
That wasn't the one I was thinking of. I thought we actually had a.
I didn't know what to do.
The Kings in 3 years.
Can I say equal?
It's interesting.
Thunder are better. I'm being very optimistic again.
Yeah, I don't think the Kings have the generational
longevity.
Star upside.
Yeah.
Fox is good, but
Yeah, but Fox ain't.
He's
I
not
mean,
I know.
shake
Fox
good.
isn't he's not a young. We kind of know what Fox is.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And shout out to all the Kings fans out there. It was an awesome season, but it's hard for they have recency bias. You know, do I go with 16 years of history or 1 year?
Right.
Like the propensity for the Kings to F it up is pretty high. Suns in 3 years.
Oh boy.
Also
man.
impossible to predict.
Of the big 3, is more than one left in 3 years?
I think it'll be Booker and Brad Beal there in 3 years, and people will.
Does Brad Beal's contract run for 3 more years?
It's a good question. I was just thinking that when Silva said that, because I was going to say only Booker at that point.
I was thinking Booker as well.
But
Let's see. My God. 1, 2, 3,
I like
4
Big Mike
more
New
years on this
Zealand's-
contract. So
Okay.
Holy smokes.
so actually that could be a thing where they're both on there and Bill's just not talked about.
How old
like
will
he
Beal
is.
be then? 34?
33. It's a player option in the last year for $57 million. Think he's going to take that?
Player option.
Hey,
Yep,
would you
okay.
like $57 million
Silva nailed
or
it.
would you? Well, shit, 3 years from now, $57 million might be the
Yeah.
mid-level exception.
Exactly.
We going better
Still,
or
that
worse?
dude-
Put a sock in my mouth tonight. Great for him.
Thunder better or worse than Phoenix in 3 years?
That was in regard to Rudy Gobert too, which is just
Better.
perfect.
No, that was Darius Baisley.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang
that was
it,
the
you're
Baisley
right.
comment.
Sorry. Good point.
I'm going to say Thunder better.
Agreed.
Going with it. I like it. Last conference. 3 years, the Spurs.
I don't want to be around anymore.
I think this one's
This is
Equal?
fascinating.
Equal.
You can't say anything other than equal.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's equal. I
And
think
they're
it's
just
equal.
going to improve as well with draft picks and
The
yeah.
Mavericks in 3 years.
Is Luca on the team in 3 years?
That's the question.
Kyrie's not on the team in 3 years.
No.
I would bet
And there,
I don't have a large sum of money, but I would bet it that he's not on the team in 3
He's
years.
on another
Probably,
continent. in
there's
3
not a
years.
lot of future assets
on
like
another
for
dimension,
all those
on
reasons.
another plane.
Probably doing Peloton yoga classes.
In the Reich.
Yeah, in Asia.
I think any team with Luca's got a damn good chance. So if he's there,
Yeah.
I think at some point the same criticism Russell Westbrook got, Luca will get. Like,
It's a great take.
can't bring in the big names. No one wants to play with you. You put up these crazy stats, but it doesn't result in XYZ. Until Luca and Mavs fans will say, "Oh, Kyrie re-signed to play with Luca." until he actually gets a free agent to come play with them, there's going to be question marks there.
I like that comp a lot.
So you're going better or worse?
I'm going to say worse.
The Thunder are worse than the Mavericks.
No, other way around.
Other way around. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
The Rockets.
This is the one I hate, and the one that I am probably I might even be devil's advocate on.
Wow.
They're going to be equal. I really do.
Wow.
I would not be
It is
surprised.
going to be a rivalry at this point.
I completely and totally disagree. Fred VanVleet's not there in 3 years.
I'm trying to read
Dylan
Nick
Brooks
here.
is not there in 3 years.
They didn't mess it up by getting Harden, and I just think these young guys are going to get more and more.
Jalen Green,
Udoka, future
Like-
assets.
in 3 years, Şengün is with Enes Kanter on Newsmax.
I don't remember
He's
9/11.
better than that. Great sound.
Better than. I don't think it's close.
I think it's going to be close.
I think it's close.
I
I
think
love Amen Thompson. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I love.
I
Amen
think
Thompson.
Amen's going to be really good. Also, I
think-
think Matt has the comment of the night.
Oh my God.
My God.
He says Kyrie becomes the next Dennis Rodman, travels to North Korea to end World War III.
My Houston take is that eventually this talent that I do believe they have there in some capacity will rise to the top through all this muck they keep surrounding them with.
Can it?
Yes,
How much of that
eventually.
talent is left in Houston in 3 years?
I don't know. Like you
They
said, I don't
kind of
think-
have what they have because they've got picks out the door. I mean, they do have picks coming in the door as well, like Brooklyn
From
picks.
Brooklyn. That's what I keep thinking.
But what if
about.
Brooklyn ends up being the Dame team?
Right.
He and Mikhail team up.
I kind of think
They're
one of the
still
young
assets.
guys doesn't work out, like a Jalen Green maybe doesn't work out, and maybe
or
it's
Jabari
Amen.
Smith, or
Maybe
an
it's
Amen.
maybe the core is Amen, Jabari, Şengün, and Cam Whitmore, and you package Jalen Green and the Van Vliet salary or the Dylan Brooks salary and go get something complimentary, and that solves some problems.
I think the Thunder are still going to be better, but I think it's going to be a very fun, competitive rivalry at this point. It's kind of what I'm getting at.
Pelicans in 3 years.
Oh God,
I have Thunder better. I know the Pelicans have the assets.
I don't know what the Pelicans look like in 3 years.
I have no
Like,
idea.
Correct. It
Has,
almost feels like they'll
has
be in a
Zion
rebuild.
overcome the bug and is a dog and MVP candidate, or is Zion out of the league?
I think they still have a pathway to be equal, even if Zion retired tomorrow.
Yeah, is like they have picks coming in still as well. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if BI is there in 3 years.
But if he's not, I think if
I think
BI is not there,
Trey
he's-
Murphy could take the BI role.
yeah,
Right.
Trey Murphy could be Mikal Bridges. If BI is not there, he's probably traded and you get assets back. I think they've got a pathway to still being really damn good.
Yeah.
I'd probably go close to equal on that.
Yeah.
The Zion question's a big one though. I mean, you only get so many shots that high in the draft, and when it doesn't pan out, it can be incredibly crippling.
Yeah, I think too. That's a good team to think about when we project in the future, because things happen. We've seen Ben Simmons, we've seen Zion, we've seen these players that weird things happen to, and injuries like Jonathan Isaac. I'm not going to get you started, Jacob, but just because a guy has a good first or second year in the NBA, you can't just say yep, max player, going to be great, never going to miss games. And I think as people that cover the Thunder, these exercises, we think about best case scenario, Chet's incredible. J-Dub continues this. Josh Giddey's an all-star. Shea's still an MVP, but doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, you
things
don't hit
happen.
on everything. You don't hit on everything.
Unless you're the Thunder.
Last one
Which
is
why
Memphis.
we're a Thunder podcast.
Memphis in 3 years.
If we went equal with the Pelicans, I think we probably have to say equal here, but there's a lot more variance probably with the Grizzlies compared to the Pelicans. Curious to your guys' thoughts.
I think this is going to be a hardcore rivalry in 3 years for sure. And
What's the Grizzlies core that lasts for the next 3 years? Is it Ja Bane, Triple J?
Yeah,
has to be, so long as they all can stay.
Is there anyone else that anyone else that gets into that?
Kenny Lofted, baby. No,
GG Jackson.
Luke Kennard.
More like
GG is
Jackson.
a fun one to keep an eye on.
GG could actually end up being like good in like 4 years. So,
but that's perfect case scenario. Still, I agree.
Yeah.
He absolutely has a talent to be.
I
but
mean,
like Jacob
Jaw
brings up a good
Bane Triple
point.
J is awesome.
I don't know what their pick situation is. I mean, assuming
They just
still
traded
have-
away 2 firsts.
Yeah, they gave up some in that Marcus Smart deal. I think whether you say equal or Thunder or better, I think you've got a case in point.
Agreed.
It's going to be
Shea
close.
versus Jaw. Theoretically, Chet versus Triple J. Like the Dub versus Bane. Like you have what Silva just said, like a budding, awesome rivalry.
Again.
Yeah.
Not really the grit and grind Grizz of old, but still a really awesome rivalry.
Yeah.
Would it be crazy to say if like we fast forward 4 years into the future that the top 3 in the West, maybe for like 3 to 4 straight years, is in any order Spurs, Memphis, Thunder? Like, is that crazy?
Not crazy. But again, like I think Nick brought up a good point when we talked about the Lakers and Clipper. Like those big markets are always going to find ways to bring in. And like if we're talking 3-4 years in the future, we also have to start talking about now again, these teams are going to be too young for it to really matter. But if LeBron James is the owner of the new Las Vegas team and the Seattle Supersonics come back to
there's
Seattle,
so many variables. Like
it's insane. Yeah.
In 3 years, Cooper Flag is starting year 2. Where is he at? That changes the entire dynamic of this, right?
He's in Utah.
Right. Or what happens if like somehow one of these teams like the Thunder, Spurs, Utah, or the Pelicans who have planned so well and have all these different future picks and pick swaps find themselves, like getting up there close enough and then able to make a trade to get up to Cooper Flag. Like you bring up a good point.
Hey, all I'm saying is sign me up for the Chet Cooper front court.
Hey, who's winning the in-season tournament in 3 years? That's what I want to talk about.
Yeah, that's right. Now we're talking.
Silva, how many more Sounders did we not get to?
Well, there's only one, and it's this one.
No,
played
that's
that
a
one.
lot of
We
swap.
got-
there's
No,
an
you didn't play
extra
the That's a
there's
Lot of
the extra.
Swap.
Right. That's the other
That's the one. That's the only one we didn't get to.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of older Sounders that I don't think made the new soundboard.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. Those are some good ones.
Awesome. Gentlemen, any
The
thoughts before we get out
timing
of
is
here? FIBA basketball does start up Friday, so wake up at 3 a.m.
I took a screenshot of Joe Masato's Oklahoman article. So that
I was
way
about to say you set your alarm for 3
You
a.m.
screenshotted the whole article with one screenshot, huh?
Well, a couple of them. Yeah, Team Australia, and then
I'm
Canada's
reporting you
actually gonna be
to the
little
Daily
better.
Oklahoman for
Do you subscribe or did you hack
stealing
into the
articles.
more of a
system,
more of a
or-
sellout sports kind of guy.
Oh.
All right, Silva, play the sounder.
This?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you guys for turning the uncontested tonight. We really appreciate you. We'll be back Sunday with some FIBA updates. No clue what we're going to talk about on Sunday. Besides that, we'll figure it out. We're also thinking about doing. Taylor mentioned this earlier. Doing a conspiracy theory pod of all the NBA conspiracy theories, which could be a blast. So keep it glued to the uncontested. All your social channels, YouTube, everywhere you subscribe to your podcast. We will be back Sunday, 9 p.m. Central Time. Should have the whole crew there, I believe. We will see you guys then. Until then, and as always, thunder up.